it's Brett here, and today we're going to tie Simon's Bream Baitfish that you've read about in issue number 123 of FlyLife, the winter edition for 2026. First of all, a massive thanks to Simon Ellis from Rivulet Flies in Tasmania, who was kind enough to share this outstanding pattern with me so that I can share it with you guys, the readers and subscribers of FlyLife. That's an example of the fly sitting atop the vise. But let's get into this. Pretty easy fly to tie. Okay, first of all, we're going to put our hook of choice for this particular pattern straight in the jaws. Okay, the hook that I'm using here is the Goulburn steel Carp hook. The model number is 9037. It's one of the new arrivals to the Australian market, and it's made quite an impact when it comes to a variety of species, but particularly Simon likes this hook for those Tasmanian black bream. Alright, first step is just layering a base of 140 Denier thread over the hook shank and just down past the bend. So the brand that I'm using here is UTC, but any 140 red thread will do the job. Next step is to attach our dumbbells. So whenever I'm doing this, I do like to add a little bit of super glue. So Gulff Minuteman in the gel formula is my particular go-to. Little dollop right there. And a set of brass dumbbells. So black nickel finish with the green eye seems to be quite effective. These ones are from EJ Todd's, and I suppose you could weight this fly with anything of your own choice, you know, from bead chain, lead, or right through to the heaviest metal being tungsten, depending on the sink rate that you're really looking for. Okay, series of cross wraps to secure that across the dumbbell bar, and a couple of helicopter wraps that just run underneath that dumbbell but above the hook shank just to lock it all down. That super glue there really binds in, locks it in place. Important to pay some critical attention to that area of the fly. Those jaws of those Tasmanian black bream are pretty strong, so make your flies nice and durable. Okay, just cutting off some synthetic fibre from my hank down here on the table, and just pulling out some loose fibres. But this particular product is from H2O, and it's their Sculpting flash fibre. This colour is bleeding sunset, so it's an orangey rusty type colour with a bit of UV blended through it and a little bit of red. Okay, do like to sort of prepare my synthetics a little bit before I tie them on, just so I've got some sort of taper happening. And I do like to use this part of my Stonfo transformer to lengthen out this fly. Okay. Couple of securing wraps right in behind the dumbbells. You really don't need to use a lot of material here. You can see how sparse this really is. And effectively, we're going to be doubling this over, so it's going to become twice as dense. A neat little trick that Simon had shown me was with this piece of material here. We're going to pull that taut across the top of the dumbbell and split it 50% over the hook eye. At this point in time, we're going to rotate the vise over, still keeping tension on it, and locking it down like so. So there's absolutely no chance that any of these fibres can be pulled out from underneath the threads. Just get rid of some of this and move it to the underside. Just like so. A couple pieces caught there. Just manipulate this fibre out of your way, just so we can trim off so we can attach the top wing in a sec. And as I go, I do like to just manage my fibres or trim them to a shape that I'm happy with as I proceed. And then I can do a final trim right at the very end. So that's looking pretty good. We're just going to knock a few fibres off there. Okay. At this point, I move my threads to the front of the dumbbell, like so. I also at this point do like to add a little bit of bone dry Solarez. So get rid of that cut. So to those exposed threads right there, little touch of UV resin, and onto that sculpting fibre that we pulled taut over the dumbbell bar. That'll be enough for this point. And let's set those with the torch. You might be able to pick up on the screen there that those green eyes are quite responsive to that UV light. Okay, that should see them set nicely. Time for the top wing, and we are selecting the same material. This is again from H2O, part of the Sculpting fibre range. And this particular colour, I'm just going to set this up in my fingers with a bit of taper first. Might be able to see my hands down there. Okay, this colour is bleeding purple, UV bleeding purple. So a bit of UV flash through it, and a bit of micro red mylar blended through it as well. So we're going to lengthen that to be about the same as this area down here. Thumb and forefinger holds it nice and tight on the top of the fly. A loose wrap to secure it, and then tightening as we go. 4 or 5 nice taut wraps should secure that. And again, we have the material hanging out over the front of the hook eye, and we want to use that as well. So we're going to make that nice and tight. Split the hook point, you can just see just there. Thumb and forefinger keeps it nice and tight again, and capture that with our thread. Alrighty. Now down in this area down here, right at the front, behind this hook eye, we've left just enough room here to be able to do that synthetic fold back tying technique. And there's another material that we do need to add in, just to create a little bit of contrast. So if you like, sometimes, I do like to take these flies out of the vise and kind of get rid of all of the materials under the jaw here. So we're just going to do that. There we go, you should be able to see that down there pretty nicely. Alright, so the final stage of building the actual fly body is to apply a little bit of contrast to the top of that purple. And what we have chosen here is Hens angel hair in the black colour. Similar kind of techniques. We want to keep this material on top of the purple. I've split it 50% each side of the thread, And I'm going to bind that in. Now this is a very fine material, just has a tiny little bit of flash to it. Just adds that nice little bit of contrast to the top of the body. You can kind of see there that it probably goes 2/3 down the length of the fly, so it's not a full length like the other materials. And that's all that you really need. What this fly really does is opens up a great range of scope to be fished for other species. And you can customize this to whatever colorways that you prefer. It is a very versatile pattern. Okay, just finishing off the head here with my threads. Just creating a nice little bullet type shape here before I would finish it with my fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and pulled tight down underneath that dumbbell. Rotate the vise around and clip him off. Okay. At this point I do like to seal up my threads. Again, using that Solarez bone dry. Just a little amount there, letting it leach into the threads. It's very thin, this type of UV resin, and again a bit more over those synthetic fibers that were across the back of that dumbbell. Get it right into the corners there, and we're pretty much right to set that. Okay. UV torch is doing its job. And the shape of that fly is pretty good. I'm just going to tidy it up a little bit before we go through the final step. But mainly this little area here. Just want to shape that belly. You could take this out of the vise if you wanted to. If you find that a little bit more easy for yourself. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Nice long cuts like so with your scissors. These are loon hair scissors actually. Just in case you're wondering what I do use for synthetics, I find these to be incredibly good for this type of trimming work. Okay. Alrighty. Let's take that out. Have a little look. Alrighty. I might just give it a bit more of a cut. Like so. Hopefully the screen's not too distorted there. There we go. That shape's looking pretty good now. Very happy with that. Okay. We're on to the final stage of this fly. And those Tasmanian black brim really like flies with a little bit of contrast and some barring on them. So, taking a Copic marker in a brown type colour. I'm going to use the thin end, and with thumb and forefinger holding the materials tight, I am going to apply a series of bars. Those bars are probably 2 to 3 mils wide and maybe a centimetre apart, maybe thereabouts. Right down to the tip. Okay, just let them dry just for a microsecond. You can really see that start to show up on the screen there. And then same deal. Simply going to go down the other side, allowing some of that colour to leach right through. Down to the tip. And then I do like to go back over just on the underside of that belly, like so. Okay. All right. I think that's an underutilized aspect of a lot of fly tying too these days, to be honest with you, is actually adding texture or some kind of contrasting bars. There's the other side. Yep, got it all underneath there. It's looking pretty good. All right, that's basically it, guys. That's Simon's Bream Baitfish. And again, thanks, Simon. Really appreciate you sharing this pattern with us so that when we venture to Tasmania to target those black bream, we can have success like we see you doing all the time. Thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate it. All the best for your time. Take care.